Hi, I'm Lizzy from 7 and All.
And I'm Rachel from 7 and All.
Today we're going to be playing around with the What's the Tea palette, Sweet Tea from theBalm. We just got this and we played around with it a little bit, so what we're hoping to do is kind of do a first impressions and let you know what we think about it, and also hopefully come up with an eye look that you will enjoy. Okay, so what's interesting about this palette, or what I find interesting, is that these two shades on the side actually are not eyeshadows. They're primers for the eye. So they give you one lighter, more neutral shade, and then a black. And you can sheer out this black primer or build it up to make it darker. And then depending on the shade, it will look different whether you've layered it over top of this primer or the black primer.
I've never seen a black eyelid primer before. Have you used one before?
I have, but not in a palette like this. I've taken the NYX eye pencil and put that underneath eyeshadow. Okay. So this is kind of like the same idea, but it's all right in one palette, which is nice. I'm surprised that they picked for the neutral shade. It's a little bit darker than I thought, but playing around with it so far, I have noticed that the eyeshadows work really well with the primers. So we're gonna try it out. Today we're gonna go for a daytime look. So we're gonna use the lighter color, the neutral eyelid primer. So we're gonna put that on the eyelids. I'll have you do that with your finger, just on the eyelids, not up into the crease.
Okay. And it has a mirror with it, which is nice. Convenient. Especially if you're like making a video and not doing your makeup in your bathroom where there already is a mirror.
Exactly. Now while she's doing that, the look we're going to be doing today is going to use the pinks and the mauve colors that we have. So because I want to do this tutorial just using the colors that we have in the palette, we're not going to use a transition shade, which I would recommend. An easy way to add a transition shade if you have this palette for this specific look, because we're going to be using the pinks and the mauves, is to take a matte blush that you have and throw it in the crease.
Is that okay?
I think that looks good. Okay, nice. I think, nice. So you can't really see the eyelid primer when it's on the eyes. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to go in from the inner corners first to the outer corner. So we're going to go lightest to darkest. So the colors that we're going to be using today are Kiss and Tell, which doesn't look very interesting in the pan, but once you apply it, you can see it's very vibrant and it has a pop. Then we're going to be using the 411. We're also going to be using He Said, She Said, and then at the end, the Rundown. Also, I was playing around with this palette for a while, and I didn't even notice that all of these pans look like cups of iced tea because it's the iced tea palette. Very
clever.
Cute. Very cute. Okay, so right now I'm going to go in with He Said, She Said.
What kind of brush do you use for this?
For this, I'm going to be using an eyeshadow brush from e.l.f. It's a small, dense brush that really picks up the powder. And I'm just going to check the eyelid just to see. Yeah, we've got the tackiness from the primer there. So I'm going to take a good amount and I'm just going to put it on the inner corners like that. And the primer just helps pick up the color really well from what I've noticed. I'm actually wondering how it will do with wearing throughout the day, because the primer is not in an airtight container, it's in the palette. So I don't think it's a type of primer that will dry down. So if you have oily lids like I do, I'm not quite sure that it will not crease. I'll be really interested and impressed if it doesn't crease. but maybe there's something with the formula where putting the eyeshadow on top of the primer sets it so that it doesn't do that. Okay, so we've got our first color on. Now we're going to go in with our next darkest color, which is the 411. Which is a really pretty darker berry color. It's still a shimmer, which means that it is going to blend really nicely. Yeah, that applied really nice. And you can see I'm going all the way to the outer corner over here with this color, even though over here we are going to darken this up with our next color, but I think it helps blend if you have overlap of the colors that you're using.
So you tend to work from lightest shade to darkest shade that you're using.
Right.
In the look.
Mm-hmm. And normally I would put a transition shade, but like I said, this palette doesn't have it does have a transition shade, but I think it's a little too brown and a little too warm for this look that I wanted to do. I wanted to do a more pinky, mauve-y look, but you don't have to have a transition shade. This is okay. I'm liking how this is looking so far. Here, you can see.
I can see when I look in there.
It's not done yet.
These are really pretty colors, I think.
And those two shades, I think, go together really well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we don't have a transition shade, but I am just taking a fluffy, clean brush just to go in where the crease is, just to kind of like blend it out, make it a little bit lighter, and blend the two shades together. So the crease is this area right above your eyelid, transition zone before it's your eyebrow. And this just softens up the edges, blends stuff together, and you don't even need to have a transition shade. If you're having trouble with this step and you don't have a transition shade, you can take a translucent powder and go over that. It will lighten it up and like blend it together. Okay, now let's go to the rundown. That's the third shade. It's actually a matte, the first matte that we've used so far, and it's browny mauve color.
Bit of purple to it.
And here we're just going to pack that on the very outer edge right here, and that gives us some more dimension. So you can see between the two eyes, we've got the two colors going on over here, but over here already with the three, it just gives some more dimension. Some more. Slowly build it up. You don't want to go in with these darker colors too quickly and too much. It's easier to put more on. It's very hard to take it away. Okay, I'm liking that so far. I'm gonna go on the other eye. I am actually impressed with how easy it is to blend over top of the primer, because the primer does help the eyeshadow stick to the eye, but it's not too sticky. It's not patchy. And just take your time, go back over, compare the two eyes, Looks so pretty.
They matching.
This side I need it to be a bit darker around the edge. So I'm just going to pack on some more color. And then when you do this, you can see how much of that middle shade kind of got lost because we went over it with the darker color. So you can see the bright inner corner, that looks good. The outer corner is dark, but that in between, I want to go back into that and build it up more. So eyeshadow is a lot of back and forth until you get what you want. So right now I'm going in with the 411, that middle shade, reapplying it so that we have that smooth transition. And with our clean, fluffy brush, going back in that crease, blending out, and then going back into that lightest shade, the first shade we used, which is He Said, She Said. And you're basically doing exactly what you just did in opposite order. We started with this, and then we're coming back to this.
I think I'm only now making the connection that all of these names are related to gossip.
Yes, spill the tea. The iced tea palette.
I don't think I'm super up to date on slang, although I think I have heard of this tea thing.
Yeah. Kermit meme. Okay, let me see. I think I'm liking that so far.
Maybe we should edit the Kermit meme into this video.
Yes. And about that. Alright, now for the best part and the funnest part. I'm going to use Kiss and Tell, which again, it doesn't look very interesting in the pan, but hopefully it will show up on camera. It is an iridescent purple that's very bright and very light. Perfect for an inner corner highlight. Yeah, I think that will show up. That's popping. And I am just going to blend that a little bit. Alright, open your eye. Can you see? Alright, yeah, that looks kind of crazy. What do you think?
I like it.
Nice.
I think crazy's a little fun.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a palette full of teal and purple.
So that last step, I'm not going to do it on the other eye just yet, so you can kind of see. This is a more work-friendly eye right now. Adding this is a bit crazy. If you don't want to go with the Kiss and Tell,
date night.
yes. If you don't want to go in with Kiss and Tell, just take your highlighter and put it on the inner corner instead. That'll be a more natural, but it will still open up and brighten up the eye, gives that I'm awake effect. Okay.
I need an extra I'm awake effect because I have a newborn baby.
Yes. That's what makeup is good for.
See, when you have really little kids is the time you don't have time to put makeup on, but it's probably the time you want to wear it the most.
Okay, cool. So that's,
It's really nicely blended on the outside.
I'm actually surprised. I really wasn't sure whether I would like the primer, but I think it actually works.
I don't think I've ever gone from a shimmer toward the inner to matte on the outside. So that's a bit different for me. Yeah, because usually I more would do matte in the middle and then go to a shimmer on the outside.
That's cool. But nice.
So this is different, but I like it.
Okay, do you want to do anything on your lower lash line?
Would I have to do that myself? Is it like the waterline?
No, I could. No, it's not the waterline, but
I could still on that.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm scared of brushes in my eye.
Yeah. Don't stab me. Okay, I'm going to go in with the 411. That's the middle shade that we actually used. And let me just get my brush ready. Brush has a lot of brown on it.
It's my eyebrow brush. That's what.
Can we use it?
Yeah. This is why it's brown.
Okay, and I'm not going to do a lot to the lower lash line. I'm only going to put some color right over here on the very outer part.
And with the rundown or the formula?
Let me see. Let's start with the 411. Open your eyes and look up. This brush is soft enough to use on the under eyes. Feels a bit scratchy. So, some of that color down there. And I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to use this to blend it out. And I'm really connecting this up here to what we have down here. Just so that it's seamless. And I don't think I even need to really add any of that matte dark color, because I think enough was there to really just pull it down and blend it.
Do you think the highlight on this side needs to be a little bit more dramatic?
To make it match.
To make it yes.
Okay, so lower lash line looks good. And let's go back into Kiss and Tell. Pop some more of that on the inner corner over here. If that looks a little more matchy. What do you think?
Yeah.
In this shade, Kiss and Tell, you can actually make more intense if you spray it with a setting spray and wet it. Okay, nice. I like that. If you want to make it more intense, you can always go in more heavy on the lower lash line. That's like a great way to make any eye look more intense. Alright, we just threw on some eyeliner and mascara so you could kind of see like a finished eye look. And I think it turned out really cool. You could definitely go a bit more dramatic or a bit less dramatic if you wanted to. One thing I wanted to point out was the outer dark color that we used, called the Rundown in the palette. I wanted you to just kind of compare how it looks in the pan and how it looks on the eye. In the pan, it really gives off a more browny color, but on the eye, you can really see how those mauves come out. So that's why it's always nice to play around with the palette on your arm, just to see. In the palette, sometimes the colors won't look the same as they will on the eye. If you play around with them on your arm, you can kind of see what type of payoff you're gonna get before you start going in on the eye. So this was really fun. I really liked it.
Yeah, and after we did all this work, now I'm all glamorous, so I'm gonna have to tell my husband to take me out on a date. So it's like,
date night.
You can't waste this, right?
Yes.
So we're Lizzy and Rachel from 7 and All. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.